Welcome back, everybody. Ellis Cannon coming at you once again. PittsburghSportsReport.com and also EllisCannon.com coming at you from the Dallas Sheraton, the NFL Media Center. Well, it's been a long week, a great week, and it's only getting better. Joined right now by Mike Florio, ProFootball.com. We worked with Mike many years ago when he was starting that and became a national treasure for those of us who loves the National Football League. You see him on NBC now, and of course, he and I are both former lawyers, so we have a lot. Former is the key. Mike, we appreciate it. Congratulations on all your success.
Hey, I'm happy to be with you, and it's been great. Congratulations to you. It's good to finally see you in person.
That's right.
We talked all those years ago and bumped into you down here in the middle of the world as far as the NFL is concerned for this week.
Absolutely, almost a national convention of sorts. I mean, no matter where you turn around, celebrities, entertainers, pundits, I mean, everybody's here, players, former players. It's the central nervous system right now of the National Football League.
And on Friday of Super Bowl week, that's when it all seems to magnify to the highest level. You see Adam Sandler, Joe Montana. I mean, the collection of people in this one room, I think it's the only day of the year where you have anything like that, where they're all there. You can walk around, you see them, you can hear them talk, and you can say hi to them, and most of the people are very friendly and cordial, and it's a neat environment to be in.
No question. Mike, interesting point about your career and your career path. I remember when Pro Football Talk started, and again, you and I were talking a lot back in those days about the time I started my radio and TV careers, and I, of course, teach, as I told you, the PA Cyber Charter School, Sports Media and Broadcasting Academy, the only one in the country like it. And you, in some respects, are a testament to what can happen for those kids. Now, there's an audience out there, kids watching us right now, but beyond that, the general sense, we're seeing a tremendous change, and what you had as an idea then was well ahead of its time, but now you got to bust your butt because everybody's trying to do the same thing.
Well, and the thing is, we've created a monster that we have to continuously feed, and we have an audience that keeps growing and growing. We had more than 5 million unique visitors to the website in January of 2011, over 50 million page views. So you just have to keep feeding it, and you just have to keep chasing it. We've got this thing, and we just have to keep it rolling. And this is the kind of business you can be involved in from anywhere you live. You're not tied to any one geographic area, and you can get the technology in your home to do radio. I've got an ISDN unit that allows me to do radio. It sounds like I'm in studio wherever I hook up to. I've got a TV studio in my house where it's piped through via an internet connection to Stamford, Connecticut, where the control room is. We do a show out of there every day. So you're not tied to any one place. You can live where you want to live and do what you want to do, and but you got to be ready to bust your butt and make sacrifices, and then if it's successful, you can bust your butt and make even more sacrifices.
Hey, well, and that's true, Mike. I've often seen you described as the hardest working guy in the business, and I'd like to think I put some time in, but of course, success doesn't happen without that preparation, without the work. Talk a little bit, give us some insight about what your work week is like. I mean, you're clearly generating an enormous amount of information, and you've developed tremendous credibility and sources around the NFL. It doesn't happen overnight. Give us a little bit of a view of that.
Well, you have to make the commitment that you're really going to take it seriously and put the time into it. When I started, I was practicing law, so it was a matter of carving out whatever free time I had. So I accepted the fact that if this was going to be successful, there was going to have to be a period of my life where I'm always working. And if I wasn't taking care of my law practice, I was working on my website, and I was trying to balance my family life with it and be a good father and be a decent husband. My wife may differ on that explanation, but I'm trying. The main obligation is a family life, but beyond that, you just got to work, spend the rest of your time working. And now that I don't practice law, all of my time is spent on the site from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed, but for the time I spend with my family, go to my son's basketball game, spend time with him at home, and even if we're not directly interacting, I'll take my laptop, sit with him, whatever room he's in, so I'm there if he needs me, help him with his homework, whatever, and you just try to keep all the balls in the air. And the thing is, I never am in a position where I'm not working. I don't sit and watch a game. I don't sit and watch a show. You always have a laptop open. You're always looking for the next story, get it posted. And also, we've got a great staff now, guys like Greg Rosenthal, Michael David Smith, Evan Silva, Josh Alper. They help me keep stuff posted, especially since we're doing more radio and TV. Somebody's got to be taking care of the thing that brought us here, which is a website that people access literally hundreds of thousands of times a day.
Mike, I often, in my associations with pro athletes, college athletes, whomever, often go back to something you and I are familiar with, the attorney-client privilege. We know that you're one and done. In this business, in what you and I do, it's one and done. I think it helps us a great deal, but of course, developing those confidence is one thing, keeping them and advancing them is another.
Well, and people understand that a lawyer has to keep secrets. So it's much easier to sell that. And now journalists have to keep secrets too, but anybody can get into this business. So if you're not going to be a journalist, lawyer's the next best thing because you know how to keep secrets, you know how to be discreet. And even then, I've got sources who their nature is every time I talk to them, they say, we're definitely off the record, you're not going to tribute. Well, I never have, and we've been talking for 10 years. Yeah. But yeah, go ahead and say it, I'm not upset. But people will talk, people like to talk, it's part of the human condition, we like to tell secrets, as long as we can do it and protect our own interests. And, but for that, Watergate never would have been exposed. It makes the world go round. People talking anonymously, that is the way that information gets out. And but for that, it would be a lot less interesting to follow news, politics, sports, anything.
Last two things. One, what's NBC done for you? Obviously, we know about the tie-in now with ProFootballTalk.com, but now you have a national platform. We see you Sunday nights. You're doing an outstanding job. Talk about how that's impacted you and the business.
Well, we were committed to being independent for years, and it was 2 years ago, Super Bowl week, I met with Rick Cordella, who now runs NBCSports.com, and they wanted to do something. They didn't know what, but they wanted to do something. I said, well, look, I cannot do anything that would take away my ability to decide what I'm going to say, how I'm going to say it. Otherwise, it won't be fun for me anymore. And he said, well, you can do whatever you want to do. We're not going to change you. And then I thought, oh, geez, I thought I'd scare him off with that, but it didn't work. So we worked out a deal, and it worked out great, and it's been tremendous. It started 2009. I would go up and do some on-air stuff with the Notre Dame halftimes. And then this year, a couple weeks before the start of the season, they said, we want you to be on the postgame with Bob Costas every week. It's like, no, seriously, it's not April Fool's Day. Come on, that's really not funny. Right. They said, no, we really want you to come up and do it. And I talked to my wife because that's when all of a sudden you're really making a family sacrifice, because I leave every Friday or Saturday and I come back on Monday. But she supported it. My son was fine with it. He gets to come to New York from time to time, so he's definitely okay with it. And it's just exploded. Now we do this daily show. And when you say NBC, you can get Daniel Snyder to come sit down with you for 5 minutes. You can get Arthur Blank. You can get the commissioner, Drew Brees, John Madden. I mean, this week has been surreal with the quality of the guests that we've had on this show, and it's all because of the NBC affiliation.
And of course, I have to ask you about the game. I mean, at the essence of everything we just talked about is the game. We're both huge fans. We're passionate about it. It ought to be pretty special.
Well, and it should be a great game. And John Madden said yesterday when we interviewed him, this is football. Packers, Steelers. No one's going to say that's a basketball game or a baseball game. That's football. And I look at it and I say the Packers are the better team right now from a talent standpoint, but the Steelers are the better organization. 9-1 in their last 10 postseason games. That doesn't happen by accident. 6-1 all time in the Super Bowl. That doesn't happen by accident. The one they lost, Cowboys were clearly the better team. And the Steelers still almost pulled that one off. So I think the Steelers are going to find a way, even with Marquise Pouncey hurt, and John Madden did a great job of explaining what that means to not have your starting center, and he's out. When he and it's you need to see the interview to really appreciate the detail that he can go into just like that. I still think the Steelers find a way to win. 27-24 is the score I picked, but there's just something about that organization. They show up, they understand the moment, they've got the experience. The Packers don't. I think the Packers are going to be stiff. And I think the Steelers are going to find a way to get it done.
Well, that's what happened with the Jets. They were stiff at Heinz Field, certainly offensively, and they were on their heels defensively. They didn't look comfortable. They had some tackles broke on them. Next thing you know, the Steelers were up big. We'll see how it plays out on Sunday. Mike, very gracious for your time, man.
Look
forward to talking to you. I'll catch up with you when the Super Bowl's done.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right, Mike, thanks very much. Mike Florio of ProFootballTalk.com joining us here at Pittsburgh Sports Network.